We are here, and we have made it to our 75th episode of Common Knowledge. Pretty impressive. That's a lot. That's a lot of episodes. Let's see what our first card is of the day. It is Awe Strike. For a single white mana, you get an instant. It says the next time target creature would deal damage this turn, prevent that damage, you gain life equal to the damage prevented this way. From Mirrodin, and yet I don't remember this card. I played a lot of Mirrodin. But this one not too familiar to me. Next time target creature would so you're fogging one creature and gaining the life off it. What's the best target for this, right? It's to blank like a Cryptic Serpent, I guess. That's 6/5. I mean, I guess like an Ulamog's Crusher or like a Maelstrom Colossus, but those don't show up as often in Pauper. They show up, but not as often. You know, fogging one creature, there are lots of fog decks, but those use fogs, which fog everything. I guess like a Bogle's deck, maybe, but you couldn't even use it in a Bogle's or against a Bogle's deck because it targets the creature. So I don't know. I don't think this is all that useful. A lot of Pauper decks, I would say the majority of Pauper decks aren't doing more than like 4 or 5 damage per creature, and most of the time it is 1s and 2s. So I think more often than not, this is a card that kind of rots in your hand. Pretty good for maybe something more like Commander, where sometimes people make like a giant Alpha Strike, or like Voltron decks are more popular in that format. Although again, you have to worry about Swiftfoot Boots or Lightning Greaves, things like those. I don't think this is very good. I just don't, and I think we can pretty safely give it a 1.8, I suppose. You know, it's not useless ever, but I don't. Even in the most niche decks that is just kind of looking to gain life and maybe like blank a creature for a turn, this still isn't a very good option. Civic Wayfinder is 2 and a green for a 2/2 Elf Druid Warrior. When this creature enters, you may search your library for a basic land card, reveal it, put it into your hand, and then shuffle. I'm just going to type in a little card name here. It's called Wood Elves. It's also available in Pauper. It's also 3 mana. It's also an elf. It doesn't have those other creature types, but it's also an elf, which matters. And it's only a 1/1, so a little bit worse. But also, you get a forest. I guess it's not any land or any basic land, but it is a forest. You put a card onto the battlefield untapped. That's just better. Also, it has, this art, but the 7th edition art. That's the one I like. Although Rebecca did a fantastic job in Portal as well. In fact, she did two different. I didn't know she did 2. I didn't know there was an Exodus version as well. That's pretty great. How much do these cost? Oh boy, it's a $9 card. It was a rare in Portal. That's crazy. And then and then Exodus wasn't too far after Portal to bump it all the way down to common. 46 cents in Exodus with different art. But then you can also get this starter version. Man, to get the Rebecca art, you're gonna have to pay. You're gonna have to pay for interesting. And then of course, that's 7th edition with the foiling. $30. Crazy. That's crazy. Anyway, we're not here to talk about Wood Elves, although I wish I was. We're here to talk about Civic Wayfinder. You know, Warrior and Druid are both relatively important creature types. Interestingly, it's Warrior Druid on the card, but in the Oracle text, it's Druid Warrior now. They flipped it. Why did they flip it outside of alphabetical? Interesting. Putting a basic land into your hand for 3 mana is not very good, and I guess you still get a 2/2, which is better than Wood Elves, but I would want the Wood Elves every time. You're already playing green, so you probably want a forest. It's also any forest for Wood Elves, so you can go get one of those funky dual lands or something like that. I don't particularly like this at all. It's too slow for most elf decks. and it's too bad for for pretty much anything else here. I'll give it like a 2, and that's probably too high, but that's what we'll give it. Next up is Foreboding Fruit. It is 2 and a black for a sorcery. Target player draws 2 cards and loses 2 life, and it also has Adamant. If at least 3 black mana was spent to cast this spell, create a food token. Okay. So we got kind of like a... This is Night's Whisper, right? Draw 2 cards, lose 2 life. Yeah, I guess this says target player, so maybe you could do... I mean, this is a fun way to kill an opponent if they're on 2 life. You give them 2 cards and then you kill them. Is that worth paying a whole extra mana for, even if you're getting a food token? I don't think 3 mana for 2 cards, a life loss, and a food token is good enough for me, and you'd pretty much have to be playing mono black at that point to get the 3 black mana to pay for this cost. I don't love it. I think it's fine, but I think you'd go with the other options. You'd go with Night's Whisper, and Night's Whisper doesn't even really get played in Pauper these days. You play the sacrifice a creature or artifact and draw 2 spells. So, what do we give that then? I guess this is better than any other card we've seen so far today. I'll give it like a 2.2. Keep on moving to Idol of the Deep King. 2 and a red for an artifact with flash. When this artifact enters, it deals 2 damage to any target. It also has Craft with Artifact for its same mana cost, 2 and a red, which means you pay the 2 and a red and you exile this artifact and another artifact you control, or an artifact card from your graveyard, and you return this card transformed under its owner's control. Now, you can only do that as a sorcery, but if you've gone through the rigmarole to do that, you will get Sovereign's... Oh, God. Sovereign's Makuahit. You know, that thing. You get this equipment that's kind of a sword. When this equipment enters, which is the Oracle text, I'm reading the Oracle text, of course, attaches to target creature you control, equipped creature gets +2/+0. You know what? This isn't that bad. It's kind of not. It's on one hand, it can be very bad when you think about, here's a shock with flash that costs 3, or shock. I mean, shock's an instance, so the flash doesn't make a difference here. Here's a shock that you're paying 3 times as much for in a format that has lightning bolt in it. That sounds bad, and it is bad. But as an artifact you get to keep on the table, lots of Pauper decks care about having just artifacts on the table that they could eventually do something with. You know, Tithing Blade is another artifact that came out in this same set that also crafts with something that can flip into a new thing. So the idea that this comes in at flash speed and does 2 damage to something, probably picks off a fairy or another creature, something like that. That's not terrible. And then eventually you can flip this, and when it does flip, it becomes this +2/+0 equipment, and then it equips for 2 after that, I guess, if you need to know that. I mean, it's kind of just 2 mostly mediocre cards strapped onto 1 card. And you don't even really get... I guess I'm turning on this card now. Because you don't even get the modality option of, could I cast this as just the equipment, or could I cast this as just the artifact? You have to go through this artifact first and then craft it. So you're paying 6 mana to get to this, which is we've seen plenty of artifacts like this. Have we seen it on the show? We've seen like Fence. No. What was it called? Oh, it was like a... Was it a Rapier? Yeah, Dueling Rapier. Which single red mana flashes, equips to attaches to a target creature when it comes in and gives +2/+0. Now that has a higher equip cost, but you know, Inventor's Axe is one that we have not gone over before, but does very similar things. Modern Horizons 3 card. Is it Inventors with a apostrophe on the other side? Oh, I should spell Inventors right. What if I just did that thing correctly? Yeah, there you go. Inventor's Axe. This is basically the same thing. You get 2 energy when it comes into play, and then you can equip it kind of for free once because you're paying the energy instead of a mana cost. But it also attaches as soon as it comes in, so you kind of get 2 free attaches. That I would say is better than this equipment, and just the idea that it's strapped onto this potential removal spell. I don't know. That's a lot of mana to get there, and I think Pauper's just too fast for a card like this. Probably would have been cool in limited. Like here's like a little option later in the game for you, because you also have to craft that with another artifact. So you have to have another thing on the table or in your graveyard. That's just asking for a few too many hoops to jump through. And I think, God, the more I look at it, the more I think this is a pretty bad card, honestly. I'm still going to give it a 2. It is still kind of a removal spell that turns into equipment, and that's kind of nice. Neither of the modes are ridiculously expensive, but they are individually a little more than you'd want to pay. And that ends up being kind of its downfall. Next up is Parasitic Strix. Parasitic Strix is 2 and a blue for a 2/2 artifact bird. It's got flying. When this creature enters, if you control a black permanent, target player loses 2 life and you gain 2 life. It's okay. Does this go in your Dimir decks? Not really. In fact, I have the deck that this probably would want to go in the most, which is a Dimir, not even just bounce, a blink. It's a Dimir blink deck. And the idea is that you take artifacts. It is an artifact-heavy deck as well, and you're blinking them for extra value. And this seems like that would be the home for a card like this. And it's not. It's not. It's a little too weak. I mean, it's not too weak. I think it is an appropriate, fine card, originally from Conflux. It's fine. But we have so many other options these days, and those options are just better, and therefore it doesn't hang. But it's cool. I like it. I think if this was 2 mana, if it was 2 mana, they would never let it be a 2/2. Not in blue. Never mind. I'm not going to theory craft this card. I'll just say it's pretty bad. I'll give it a 2.4. It's okay, but you're never going to play it. All right, next up, we got Vodalian Arcanist. For 1 and a blue, you get a 1/3 Merfolk Wizard. You can tap to add a colorless, but you can spend this mana only to cast an instant or sorcery spell. These aren't bad. We've seen some stuff like this before. We did my Oaken Siren. There you go. I gotta forget that. That's a 1/2 flying vigilance for 2 mana, and it taps for a blue, but you can only play it for an artifact. So you play it in different things, of course. But we've seen blue do this more and more often lately, of having conditional mana dorks. Red is starting to get mana dorks of their own. Green, obviously, is the king of mana dorks. And the other 2 colors don't really do it all that much. If at all. Like white has extremely conditional ones, like the not in Pauper, but like Jada, the angel one. And black has, usually you want to sacrifice the creature or have ritual kind of effects, so you don't get that as much in black either. Anyway, I think this is fine. Yeah, if it made a blue, I think that would be a lot better. But making it colorless, I think the spells that you want to cast in blue are going to be cheap enough that having a thing that taps for a colorless doesn't give you the stuff you want. If it was blue and you were able to cast a brainstorm on it, okay, that's better. But this doesn't quite do it. Let's give it a... I mean, it's still like a halfway decent blocker. 1/3 for 2 mana is not the worst thing in the world, I suppose, especially in blue. Let's go ahead and give it a 2.3. I feel like all my scores are hovering around that kind of score now. I need something that really comes in and punches in the face. Are we going to get that? Not really. Sporeback Troll is 3 and a green for excuse me, 3 and a green for a 0/0 troll mutant with Graft 2. This creature enters with 2+1/+1 counters on it. Whenever another creature enters, you may move a +1/+1 counter from this creature onto it. And note that it says another creature enters, not another creature you control. You can put this on your opponent's creatures too if you wanted to. Probably wouldn't in 60 card formats, but maybe in like a commander kind of thing. Anyway, you could also pay 1 and a green to read. I cannot get rid of this catch in my throat. It sucks. Feel fine. Regenerate target creature with a +1/+1 counter on it. So you could do it to this guy or any other creature that has a +1/+1 counter on it. Those are pretty plentiful in Pauper. It would not be that hard to make this work. What would be difficult, though, is paying the 4 mana for a 2/2. It's not amazing. And then paying an additional, or keeping up an additional 2 mana, or maybe more if you want to regenerate lots of things. Keeping up all that mana for this. Is that really the useful effect that you need it to be in Pauper? A format that is fast and getting faster, honestly. I think this is just incredibly slow for that. Now, I think in Commander, you could start to make kind of an argument for it. You could find some cool lines with this, but not in Pauper. Not in Pauper. Let's give it a 1.9. Still, we're hovering around similar scores here. Ghoul Flesh is a single black mana for an enchantment aura that enchants a creature. Enchanted creature gets -1/-1, and is a black zombie in addition to its other colors and types. This is bad. I'm willing to say this is awful. You know, it's black removal, but it only removes 1 toughness guys. And if you don't remove it, they become black creatures, which turns off a lot of the other potential black removal that you might use against those creatures. You can't Doomblade the creature anymore if you put Ghoul Flesh on it. -1/-1 is not that great. You're mostly going to slow down and barely even slow down an opponent's creature. Like if you put this on that Cryptic Serpent like we talked about before, oh no, it becomes a 5/4. Like that is still an incredibly dangerous creature. This didn't really do anything. Yeah, I don't love it. I don't love it. I'm going to give this a 1.3. And you have to do this at sorcery speed too, because that sucks. That's just really bad. That is pretty awful. Will our next card make up for it? Defenestrated Phantom is 4 and double white for a 4/3 spirit with flying. It's also got Disguise for 4 and a white. You may cast this card face down for 3 as a 2/2 creature with ward 2. Turn it face up at any time for its disguise cost. So you're getting a 1 mana reduction for its disguise cost. It's still a lot, but you already have paid 3. That's asking 8 mana now to play a 6-drop, and the 6-drop isn't even that good. And it doesn't do anything when it flips over. In fact, you might even argue it gets a little bit worse when it flips over because it doesn't have the ward 2 anymore. This sucks. I'm going to give this a 1. I don't... I don't know if I have a copy of this card. I do have some MKM stuff. I don't know if I have a copy of this card, and if I did, I probably would have known how bad it was. But it's news to me how uniquely terrible this card is. Gross. Get it off my screen. Last card of the day is Iron Will. For a single white mana, you get an instant. Target creature gets +0/+4 until end of turn. It also has cycling for 2, so you can discard it and draw a card when you pay 2. Not great. Also not great. A defense bonus with no power bonus, so you're not even combat tricking, really. You're just keeping one of your creatures alive. The cycling's okay, but there's so many cards that cycle for 1. Some cards that even cycle for free, or basically free, that You'd never play this. Not once. Not once in your entire life would you play this unless you're like, man, that Val Mayerick art is good, and it is. But that's the only reason you would touch this card, because oof, yeah. We'll give this a 1.1. Pretty bad, pretty bad. We'll do a bonus card. Hopefully end on something nice. Yeah, it's, well, I mean, Woodland Streamed is a land. It enters tapped. It taps for green or blue. Yeah, pretty. I mean, it's a dual land. Enters play tapped, which a lot of dual lands do, especially in Pauper. They almost all do. We've had this conversation before. A dual land is good. In a vacuum, this is like a 7.5, something like that. But we're not in a vacuum. We are in a format that plays lots of other dual lands. You play deserts that ping when they come in. Those are better than this. You play the gain lands that gain you a life when they come in. Those are better than this. Strictly better than this. You have the Dominaria duels with land types on them, so you can fetch for them. Those are better than this. You have the 13 lands from Dustmourn are better than this, because conditionally they can come into play untapped, which these can never do. You have the Kaldheim Snow duels that also have land types on them. Those are better than this. You just have so many options that are better, and you should play any of those, and probably even a couple that I didn't mention here. But there are lots of good dual land options. Oh, the bridges. I forgot the bridges again. The Modern Horizons 1, 2? Can't remember which Modern Horizons they came out in. The Modern Horizons bridges, which are indestructible artifact lands that tap for 2 colors mana. Like those also are good. Never play these. There's no reason to ever play these. So don't. That's my advice. Let's get out of here. See you guys.